tell us the history of FDA. How did it get started? Why did it get started?
Yeah, so it's a fascinating history. It was a little over 100 years ago. There were some, essentially some toxic chemicals that appeared, and people were getting very sick and even dying. So a small group of people led an investigation to figure out where these chemicals were originating from. You know, they used to put mercury in some foods. There used to be heavy metals, and Coca-Cola had cocaine in it. That's why it was called Coke initially. So the FDA began by sort of doing investigations, and people thought, hey, there's value in this. Now it regulates 20% of the U.S. economy. Should probably be 15% or something far less. And we have offices in 50 countries, and it oversees everything from mangoes coming across the border to cosmetics to MRI machines and microwave ovens to tobacco and vape products to wearables and devices and, of course, drugs.
Got it. And for yourself, you know, obviously I watched you when you were coming up and when they were saying he could be the head of the FDA, he could be the head of the FDA, and everybody was following kind of some of the things you were talking about. We've listened to you for many years, when especially during COVID, when you would come out and talk about certain things. But for you having the job now, one, how was the phone call made? Who called you and offered you the job? And what's the experience been for you so far? Do you actually feel like you can make direct impact?
Yeah, it's an awesome job. You can actually do stuff. You can actually get stuff done with a very high level of impact in society. I've been there about 8 months. We've gotten a tremendous amount of stuff done. Eliminating animal testing that's unnecessary, the removal of the petroleum-based food dyes. They've been talking about that for 35 years. They've been talking about getting rid of one dye for 35 years. Within weeks, we announced the removal of all 9 artificial dyes from the U.S. food supply. We're making our decisions. If we reject a product, we're making those letters public so the public can see why. We've got AI in the agency. We're cutting red tape. We're focusing on cures and meaningful treatments. And that's just the first 8 months. So I'm very grateful to President Trump when he called me and said, hey, is this something you'll consider? He's an amazing guy. He's a phenom, really. He has more energy than anybody and instincts better than some of the academic elites in America. So it's just a huge honor to work with him and Secretary Kennedy and Mehmet Oz and Jay Bhattacharya and the gang.
It's great to see this team there, okay? It's very good to see the team there, and it's, you know, because these are the guys that were sometimes the most vocal during COVID. So the people are like, okay, great, you're in. Are you actually going to be able to do the things that we want? So one question for you. You know, when you get a job like this, I'm assuming if we were boys, if we're friends, and say we went to school together and you went to the, you know, medical route and I would go into the finance route. And we're having dinner, we're at a game, we're watching football. You're a football guy, I'm a football guy. We're watching, we're like, hey, you know, Joe Burrow just said he's making a comeback and all this stuff. It's great, he's coming back. And I tell you, I said, so listen, between you and I, we've known each other for 40 years, okay, from 7th grade. These are 3 things I want to see you do, bro. You know, like friends are talking to friends, right? Yeah. I want to see this, that. Now, you know, you probably only have 3 people that'll talk to you like that, 5 people that'll talk to you like that. But the people that are closest to you, now that they know that you're in, what are folks telling you, man, I hope you get to the bottom of this and this and this? What are the 3 things your friends, specifically friends, maybe not even from the medical space, but friends telling you they'd like to see you pursue?
Man, that's a good question. Now I see why your podcast is one of the top rated in America. Look, we're unfiltered, all of us, the team. We are unfiltered. We are raw. We are honest. And what you see is what you get. We're not going to put something in political speak and massage and give you some boring speech. You know, they give me speeches. The team gives you speeches when you're in these jobs and you go into this association and you're supposed to, you know, read this speech. I can't do it. I can't read these speeches. They're so darn boring, I'd fall asleep. I fall asleep reading them. So we're going to give it to you like it is, and we're not going to be shy. My friends tell me they want to fix the food supply, and they want to see cures for certain diseases. And I think we can deliver cures for certain diseases. I think in this administration, you're going to see a meaningful, powerful treatment through cutting the red tape and being proactive for neurodegenerative diseases, for type 1 diabetes, for certain types of cancer. We just gave a priority review voucher to a company that makes a drug that takes certain rectal cancers of certain gene subtypes. It's a small subset of 5 to 10% of rectal cancers. The drug literally melts the tumor away to zero. No chemo, no surgery, no radiation. That's the kind of stuff patients deserve, and that's the sort of stuff that's new in our healthcare system, where we're throwing good money after bad into this broken system. We've got to innovate. We've got to promote innovation. So I would say the food is the biggest thing, and then cures for certain conditions, and we're going to deliver on both. We're rewriting the food pyramid right now.
You're rewriting the food pyramid.
Yeah.
Right now.
It was written by the companies based on what they wanted to buy.
Yeah. And
So-
when should we be expecting the new food pyramid?
I think in the next couple months.
Okay.
Because and it's going to be short. It might be 5 pages, right? 'Cause you put out this classic government disconnect from the American people. You put out a 200-page document, no one's going to read it. You put out something that's 4 or 5 pages. Now every single school board member in America, every parent can understand that we don't need to wage a war on natural saturated fat. Where did that come from? That was medical dogma. Medical establishment got that wrong for 50 years. Tried to blame everything on saturated fat. Moved all these kids in school to low-fat things where they pounded them with refined carbohydrates. So we're going to be honest with people. We're going to talk about protein. We're going to talk about fiber and the types of grains you get, not just calories in equals calories out, and it doesn't matter how processed the food is. So we're going to be honest with people, and I think you're going to see a meaningful change.
Can you give us any hints? Anything that's majorly different? Because the original food pyramid we saw was from 92 to 05, and then they changed it to, I believe, My Plate. Is it called My Plate?
My Plate, and then they had the Food Compass, which and came out of an NIH study that said Lucky Charms was healthier than a steak.
Lucky Charms was healthier than a steak. So when you hear stuff like this, I mean, no wonder people don't trust it's going to be very hard. I mean, I'm actually curious to know, as we go through this, how you're going to be working on regaining the trust, because after COVID, people haven't trusted this probably for the last 5 years. And that's going to be a lot of work for you guys.
Well, I think that's one of our big goals, to rebuild public trust. And we're doing it by trying to show some humility in our approach, being extremely honest, and by talking to the public. We're not living in a black box in an ivory tower. I'm here, and I've been talking to people that want to have a serious conversation about what's wrong with our healthcare system. And we don't talk about, when we talk about healthcare and everyone's talking about how to finance our broken healthcare system, what's been missing are the 2 root causes. The price of goods and services is way too high, and it could be much lower. You're seeing President Trump now announce lower drug prices at the price of pennies on the dollar of what these drugs used to be. And the other issue is the health of the population. No one talks about the fact that 40% of our nation's kids have a chronic disease. Many of them take regular medications. What's going on here? We're just medicating our nation's kids at scale, and nobody is saying stop and look up and look around and see what we're doing. We take these kids and we rattle them in the middle of the night in their circadian rhythm. We put them on a school bus, not because it's good for their circadian rhythm, but because it's convenient for adults going to work. And then we pound them with ultra-processed foods and high glycemic loads, and we tell them to sit still at a desk. And then we pound them again with an ultra-processed lunch. And then we tell them to sit still again, and they can't do it. They got to sort of sugar coma. And then what do? We tell them you're a bad kid, and we drug our nation's kids at scale. They have less natural light exposure than prisoners. What is going on? So we've got to talk about these root causes. So we're talking about all of this stuff, and we're doing research, and we're talking about the medicalization of ordinary life.
When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.